The coldest weather of the winter is dropping in now. We're looking at -6 degrees, sub-freezing weathers. It's time to bug out of Colorado.
But running from weather is tricky, especially when the snow is right on your heels.
And you live in an RV. Welcome back to the RV Odd Couple. My name is John.
And I'm Mercedes. We RV pursuing freedom, independence, and adventure.
Because life is so short. And boy, are we excited to be on our adventure again.
If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please be sure to do so and like the video. That helps us because YouTube is more likely to promote our videos. And now that we're finally RVing and seeing beautiful places, you definitely don't want to miss that.
There's a cold snap dropping into Colorado with temperatures below zero.
Now, having the temperature get below freezing is not automatically a death sentence when you're RVing.
Nope.
However, if the temperature stays below freezing, stays sub-zero for long periods of time,
24 to 48 hours.
The longer it stays below that freezing mark, the harder it's going to be to keep the pipes and everything working in the RV. But if it warms up during the day, that's more sustainable as opposed to something that's just Arctic weather without stop. That's when you really run into problems.
And so ultimately that morning we made a decision that we had to bug out of Colorado, and I started doing research as to where the weather was not going to be as bad. In Pagosa Springs, which is at an elevation of about that 7,000 feet, it was only going to be in the high teens and low 20s. I thought that that was the place to go. So we were racing as fast as we could. We were able to say goodbye to all our family members and we were on our way. Now, 160 was one of the most beautiful rides we have ever been on. You want to talk about beauty everywhere. We're actually crossed Wolf Creek's Pass, which is about at 11,000 feet elevation.
That was hairy.
It had just started snowing when we started getting up there, which made us both a little bit nervous. But it was just so absolutely gorgeous. And of course, we've been tied up in Florida for so long that we were just happy to be on the road again and starting the RV adventure.
Now, as we were driving through the mountains, the snow had just started. And those of you that have lived in snowy climates know that you kind of have a little bit of time before the snow sticks, but once it sticks, you're in trouble. And you also know that when you're going over bridges and that sort of thing, or shaded areas that don't get any sun, those places are going to get icy first. And we're towing the Jeep, so this is some pretty scary stuff. My hope was to not see any snow on this trip, and unfortunately the snow did catch up to us.
What is it?
It's a snow.
It's a snow. Right as we started to go up Wolf Creek Pass, it started snowing at around 8,000 feet. We did not have chains with us. We knew we were racing against time.
But you don't want to go fast because it's snow.
Yeah, so we basically just dropped it down into second and third gear, down 7-8% slopes. Wolf Creek's Pass is absolutely gorgeous.
And dangerous.
But it is also dangerous, and thank God for us, we were able to get to the top of Wolf Creek's Pass, get a few pictures, and then start down into just an absolutely gorgeous valley on our way to Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
Now, it was really heartbreaking to leave my mommy so early. I was bawling like a baby, right? She's the one that was like, no, you got to go to Pagosa Springs. And let me tell you, we are so grateful that we took Mom's advice because it was actually warmer than Durango. It was closer than Durango. And the springs were amazing.
Pagosa Springs has the deepest geothermal hot spring in the entire world. It holds the Guinness Book of World Records at 1,006 feet.
So we did something kind of weird that we don't normally do. You see, we stayed at an RV park in Pagosa Springs, and then we also stayed at a hotel. So we're going to share with you guys a couple quick tips for each place, because whether you stay at a hotel or the RV park in Pagosa Springs, this is definitely a place you have to add to your bucket list. The campground we stayed at is called Pagosa Riverside Campground. And one of the things that's so cool about this campground is that some of the spots actually back to the San Juan River.
And we loved it. It was great. It sits just far enough off of 160 where you don't hear that traffic.
Now, overall, we thought that this park was pretty well run. It was funny, we did our laundry in the RV laundromat for the first time. We've always had the onboard in our fifth wheel, and it was actually pretty fun. It was kind of part of the adventure.
We were able to get all of our laundry done in 1 hour. Now, a lot of you guys know I'm a germaphobe. I don't like laundromats, but this one was really nice and clean. We liked the management. We liked the park. It was fairly empty.
For a 2-night stay, it was a total of $102.60. That includes the tax. We did use our Good Sam's discount to get 10% off. The only thing I didn't like about the campground was that they came and knocking at our door like 5 minutes after checkout time.
They literally knocked on the door at 11:01. We assumed that the checkout time was noon, so we weren't rushing to get out of there.
We were wrong.
But they made sure to let us know that, hey, you guys got to get out of here, which was surprising because the park was pretty empty.
Yeah. There should be like a 15-minute grace period, a 30-minute grace period. While we were at the campground, we also booked a night at the Springs Resort and Spa.
Yeah. This was a surprise that I gave to Mercedes.
Yeah, because you were a big poop head and you felt like you owed me. I just want to set the record straight there.
And we hadn't slept outside of our RV in almost 14 months.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be a nice surprise to book a night in a beautiful resort. Ended up running about $400 with taxes and fees.
It was crazy
but
expensive.
It was gorgeous. And I think Mercedes really appreciated it.
Well, I did, but there's a couple tips that, knowing what I know now, I would have done the stay a little bit different. So I want you guys to really know this. So they have different levels of fancy, right? So we were at the deluxe level, the medium level of fancy. And that allows you access to some of the thermal hot springs pools that other people can't get to.
Yeah, there's a total of 24 pools. And when you have a VIP, you get to access 4 pools. But if you have kids, those are useless.
And we don't have a babysitter with us. So basically, I would have gone with the lower level as a family. But if you're going more as a honeymoon or just a couple on vacation, then I think it makes sense to spring for the higher dollar amount packages. The other thing that, I know this sounds so lame, but I thought it was amazing, was you get a free water bottle. It's like $400 a night and like a $2 plastic water bottle.
It really made Mercedes happy. These little blue water bottles. She just loved it. And they have spring water set up all over the compound where the hot pools are distributed.
They do have little water fountains, but we were at like the furthest place possible from a water fountain. So that was, and it was really cold. We were walking around in the cold to get water. And speaking of walking around in the cold, one of the big mistakes that we made was we forgot to bring our flip-flops. So we went down to the pools in our tennis shoes, but then we couldn't put on our tennis shoes afterwards because our feet were soaking wet. So then we ran barefoot from the pools all the way back to the hotel room.
Now, guys, it was 18 degrees out when we did this.
It was really cold to be barefoot and wet, but it was still a good memory. And
it was a great experience.
Yeah.
One of the weird things about this resort is they don't let you check in until 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And checkout is the next morning at 10 a.m., which doesn't give you a lot of time.
You can request a late checkout, but they only have a few of those available. So you have to request a late checkout as early as possible. I do wish that their check-in was a little earlier and their checkout was a little bit later.
So a couple of tips about this resort. Ask a lot of questions.
Yes.
Because when you first get there, it's really confusing as to where the pools are, and they give you these gate codes to get in about 20 to 30 different entrances all over the resort. And it's just hard to know where to start out. The different pools have different temperatures all the way down from 96 degrees all the way up to 118 degrees, called the lobster pot. All the temperatures are displayed at each bath area so you know how hot it is.
And they change the temperatures daily. It's pretty neat though, because you're right along the river. So it's a mix of being in a hot tub, but you're actually in nature, but it's really well kept. The grounds are well kept. So it was a really nice experience. And the water Now they say that the water has a lot of healing properties. It has a whole lot of good stuff in it. We'll just show you.
We'll just show you, yeah, a list of all the things that have bromine. There's a lot of different things in that water that have healing properties.
It felt so good to be able to soak in that water. If you are going to go there, you definitely don't want to just stay at this place one night. I think you want to soak in as many tubs as possible.
Yes.
And you also want to take advantage of downtown Pagosa. And I use downtown, you know, like the little town, and really enjoy the shops and what the small town really has to offer.
So a couple of interesting facts that we found out about Pagosa Springs that we thought were pretty cool. The name Pagosa is given by the Ute natives, and what it means is healing waters. There's a lot of good stuff in those waters. And you know, we never really considered how healing and renewing those waters would be until I think the second time we got into the pools. That last hour really made the difference for us and really changed, you know, how we felt when we left the resort. We loved the resort.
Yeah, because if we had left at 10 o'clock in the morning, I would have felt like it was a total waste. Getting that second time to dip in the pools made all the difference.
They also have this portion called the Mother Spring. That's the main spring that is 1,000 foot deep. And that is the main spring that feeds all of the other springs.
I wish we had gotten more time in Pagosa because it's right by the San Juan National Forest. And I would have enjoyed spending more time in the San Juan River. But it was a little too cold to explore the river.
Yeah, we ended up riding out the cold weather there. We really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for giving it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. We are heading off to the Four Corners, which is the corners of Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah. We're actually on our way right now to Utah Horseshoe Bend, past the Four Corners, and we're going to be staying in our very first Walmart while boondocking. So we'll see you in the next video.